Hey guys, welcome back to Hike Oregon. Today I'm going to do a video that has been requested by a lot of you, and I'm going to talk all about how to find the perfect hike for you for the day that you're going. If you live in an area like Oregon where the hikes are super plentiful, I mean there's thousands of hikes, how do you go about picking the right one for that weekend? So that is what I'm going to talk about today. I'm wearing my PCT shirt in honor of all of my wonderful friends that are on their PCT journeys right now. Special shout out to Israel. I met him on Facebook the other day and I am so excited to follow your journey. So to find the right hike for that particular time that I'm going, I do a series of steps to find the right hike. So the first thing that I do is I look at the weather. Even though in my town, in Eugene, it may not be sunny that weekend that I'm trying to go hiking, that doesn't mean it's going to be crappy weather everywhere. So I use weather.org and I will, look at all the nearby areas. So Willamette Pass, I'll look at Detroit Lake, I'll look at Santiam Pass, I'll look at Crescent if I'm going, just all around. I'll look at the coast, that kind of thing. So I'll just look, a surrounding circle basically. And wherever I see that there's going to be great weather, or better than other places, I will pick a hike that is there. So then my next step is figuring out what type of hike I want to do. So let's say that it's going to be overcast. If it's going to be overcast but not raining, I won't do anything with a view. So because you won't see anything if it's overcast. So I'll scratch all the view hikes. I don't even need to look at those because I know I won't see anything anyway. So that leaves me to lake hikes, waterfall hikes, creek hikes, along the river, that kind of thing. So that leaves me, a good 3 to 4 other options. Now, if it's going to be sunny and really blue sky, I will most likely pick a view hike if it's going to be sunny. I love view hikes. Those are probably my favorite. I love climbing. I love steep grades. I love, getting that great workout and that good mileage. And then I love being able to see the view at the top. That is my favorite thing about hiking. So if it's going to be sunny, you're probably going to see me on top of a mountain. So once you've looked at the weather, you've picked your area because of the weather, and you've also picked the type of hike that you want to go on. So you've really narrowed it down. Now it's time to find your hike. So there are numerous things that you can do to pick your hike. One of my go-to things is a particular guidebook. Let me show you here. So these guidebooks are written by William Sullivan, and he is an amazing author of hikes here in Oregon. I wish he would do hikes everywhere because I would love for everyone to have a book like this. This has been the most handy thing ever and it has really inspired me. This is my most used one. As you can tell, it is falling apart. It has been taped multiple times. You can see through the spine, basically. I also have it autographed by William Sullivan. He lives here in town, so sometimes I go see his talks and stuff at REI. But I have done all but 15 of the hikes in this book. So this is my favorite one. This is the Central Oregon Cascades, 100 hikes. So he'll talk about the hikes, 100 hikes in the main section, but then in the back he has listed 100 more hikes, as you can see here in the back. He has listed 100 more hikes, but he doesn't go into full detailed description, so it's kind of iffy. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into if you go to one of the ones in the back, but it's kind of exciting that way. So this is what I would use if I'm gonna pick a hike in a certain area. This is very handy, but because I've done almost all the hikes in this book, that doesn't leave me a lot of options unless I'm redoing a hike. It doesn't give me a lot of new hike options. He also has a book for Southern Oregon, Oregon Coast and Coast Range, which I use this one a lot too, and then Northwest Oregon and Southwest Washington, which these hikes are too far away for me to be a day hike. So this book I really only use for if I'm going on a trip. Same with the Southern Oregon one. They're just too far to be day hikes for me. So those books I really only have because I know I'm going to go on trips and stuff like that. So like I said, if you've gone through all the hikes in the guidebook for your area and you're not necessarily, wanting to go on a 5-day backpacking trip or something like that further away, I recommend just getting some maps. So I have a few options here. You can get maps from the Forest Service. So this is a Forest Service map here. And it will show you very detailed a lot of trails for certain areas. So you can definitely go to your local ranger station and get your maps there. Also, National Geographic makes amazing maps. I'll show you this one here. It has all of the trails as well for a specific area. So go to your local REI, your local outfitter, and they are certain to have these maps. And you can get one for, whatever area you're interested in, and it'll have all the hiking trails on there. Now, again, for Oregon specific people, I'm so sorry that non-Oregon people don't get these maps because these are my favorite maps of all time. They are made by Adventure Maps Inc. and they look like this. If you have not seen these, go to REI right now and get yourself one or some or multiple. They're amazing. They're also made out of this really cool material that's water and rip proof, which is amazing for Oregon hiking. Like, this is the map that you want. So I have one for Three Sisters Wilderness. I have one for Mount Hood area. I have one for Sisters and Redmond High Desert area, and then Central Oregon as well. So, and then I have one for like the Oak Ridge area too. That's actually in my backpack. That's the one I use the most. So these will have all of the hikes on it as well for the certain area. It'll have the trail, and then it will have the mileage. So for example, let me show you here. Well, you can basically see here, you can see trails, right? And you can see how some of them loop together and that kind of thing. And then the red number right there, the red number, that's the mileage. So you can, from point to point, so it'll have a red dot and then a number. So you can really add up the mileage if you needed to. You can do a loop, you can basically build your own hike. And that's what I love about these maps is you could go on a hike that no one has really gone on because you've made your own little loop connecting certain trails. Or, let's say you're gonna start over on this end and go, up and over and around, and you'll have done a different hike than, let's say, is in the guidebook. You could discover lakes. Lakes are on here, rivers are on here. You can discover your own places, and it's really exciting. Picking a trail from a map is definitely a little more intimidating, especially if you're new to hiking. I may not recommend it just because you don't really, unless you know what the area is like and you know the terrain and that kind of thing, you may not know what you're getting yourself into. And then after you've maybe picked a few hike options, unless it's summer, unless you live in an area that doesn't get snow, you have to check the snow levels. Unfortunately, especially in spring, this can be a little bit difficult because you don't really know where the snow is or how much has melted or that kind of thing. So the tools that I use are the ODOT trip camera for Oregon. Again, it's the Oregon Department of Transportation, and their website has trip cameras, and so they set up cameras all over the state, highways and stuff like that. So they have one at all of the like passes and stuff like that. So up until recently, you know, there was snow still at Willamette Pass and Santiam Pass, and you can see that on the camera image. So if there's snow on the side of the road at Willamette Pass, I know that there's snow at 5,000 feet, and I cannot hike at 5,000 feet. I cannot start my hike at 5,000 feet. I might be able to start my hike, and let's say the tippy top is at 5,000. That might be doable, but I know where the snow line is. I know how much snow is still there. Now, the snow now has melted at Willamette Pass, and I no longer can see where it is. So the other tool that I utilize a lot, especially in the spring until all the snow has melted, is Snowtel. Yeah, I think it's called Snowtel. Snowtel. And I'll link the website below, but the Snowtel website has spots all over Oregon, and it gives you the measurement of snow, which is amazing. So now, granted, it doesn't show everywhere, so you kind of have to pick, okay, I know kind of what elevation I'm going to. I'll look at this one because I know this one is the same vicinity or the same sort of elevation. It's a little hit or miss because, you know, all the spots are different. Your hike could have no snow because it's completely southern exposure, but the Snowtel website says that the same elevation 3 miles away has 6 feet of snow. It's a little hit or miss, but it'll give you an idea of if the Snowtel website says 6,000 feet still has 84 inches of snow, which is the case right now, you know you can't hike there. So it's as simple as that. Another tool that I like to use is Instagram. On Instagram, you can use the search function to search a place. So if you know it's a popular hike, you know people have gone there, search it. See if anyone has gone recently. Message them, ask them about the conditions of the trail. And most of the time people will get back to you right away, super nice, because they're fellow hikers. They want to give you information. So those are my tips for finding the perfect hike. I will say this system has worked out for me, I would say 95% of the time. 95% of the time, I know what weather I'm getting into. I know exactly what the weather's going to be like when I get there and when I'm hiking. I know where the snow level is. There's no surprises. And I have a great time because I know what I'm getting into. I would say 95% of the time that has been the case. And I have hiked a lot. I generally hike between 400 and 500 miles a year. So you know I've done a lot of day hikes. And in Oregon, it can be difficult, especially in the winter and the spring, to pick the right hike. So that is all I have for you today. Please comment below if you have any questions. Subscribe to my channel. I upload twice a week. I always upload an informational video like I did today, and then I also upload a hiking vlog video once a week as well. So stay tuned for all of that. I have awesome things to come this summer, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next adventure.